he was like just trying to bring me in fast. He's probably going like 100. I was just like, oh my God, I just prayed real quick for him.
Police say it is the most catastrophic type of accident you can have when driving. It's a head-on collision with a wrong-way driver, and it is an incredibly deadly problem here in San Antonio. Since 2012, 20 people have died in wrong-way crashes on San Antonio highways.
But as the I-Team discovered, these deaths happen despite increased efforts from TxDOT and local law enforcement to prevent these tragedies. Dylan Collier joins us live with more.
And Sarah and Jeff, we are live along US 281 near the airport. This is the most likely place to encounter a wrong-way driver in San Antonio. And while these crashes make the news, it's the untold story that in many ways is more alarming. The I-Team has learned San Antonio drivers go the wrong way on the highway hundreds of times every year.
I bought that other one, and then people just started giving me crosses. They tell me I shouldn't be doing so much crying, let my son rest, but I can't help it.
Yeah. Olga Rodriguez never intended for the front room of her home to turn into a shrine to her son, Tony Marin.
He was a happy person. Here I go. He was a clown of the family, always trying to make everybody laugh.
The laughter ended Mother's Day 2011. A Jeep Cherokee driven by 19-year-old Taylor Rosenbush entered northbound I-35 at Pat Booker Road. At least a half dozen drivers called 911 during her 2.5-mile drive in the wrong direction.
I'm sorry, there's a big old crash here in the on 35 going northbound. Not sure. It was supposed to be an exit, and he came on through the exit.
Rosenbush, whose blood alcohol level was 3 times the legal limit, collided near O'Connor Road with a compact car carrying Tony and his friend Keith Hernandez. The two men were headed to work in New Braunfels. First responders tried to remove Tony and Keith for more than 45 minutes.
Like that day, he never called me. And I was waiting and waiting for him to call me, but I figured he got busy. Started watching the news, and that's when I saw it. But I didn't know it was him. And I thought to myself, look, two young men, what a Mother's Day for their mothers, without knowing that it was me.
This map from the Texas Department of Transportation shows the scope of the problem of wrong-way drivers in San Antonio. The highest number of wrong-way drivers get on 281 as it runs from downtown through Loop 1604. TxDOT is still trying to determine why.
That is a most devastating type of impact, and the speeds that you're traveling on the highway, it doesn't give you much of a chance.
San Antonio Police Chief William McManus is personally dealing with the pain caused by a wrong-way driver.
Just past the McCullough highway, I got off so we control the vehicle on the highway.
March 15, 2011, a San Antonio police officer pulled over to help another officer in a wreck on I-35 near McCullough. But this was no rear-end accident.
We have an officer down, a wrong-way driver struck head on, and he didn't look like we now. Can you give me a status on our officer's injuries? She's not breathing.
Officer Stephanie Brown, a 3-year veteran of the force and the mother of a 1-year-old girl, did not survive. The death of Officer Brown hit the department harder after officers learned the man driving the SUV who hit her, Chris Balderramos, had been convicted of DWI in Bexar County 6 months earlier. Balderramos also died in the crash.
The last thing you expect is for your first responders to be the victim of a wrong-way driver when they're out there trying to prevent it.
Prompted in part by the death of Officer Brown and by a spike of wrong-way drivers in San Antonio, TxDOT announced a $500,000 wrong-way driver initiative in January 2012. It placed illuminated wrong-way signs on every exit on US 281 between I-35 downtown and Stone Oak Parkway. The project also paid for radar detectors along this 15-mile stretch, which alert police the moment they detect a vehicle traveling the wrong direction. The I-Team discovered TxDOT recorded 274 wrong-way drivers in San Antonio in 2012, resulting in 19 crashes. Last year, that number dropped to 222. 14 of which resulted in crashes. Highway awareness may be a contributing factor to the decrease. Two cars traveling 65 miles per hour in opposite directions close on each other at the incredible rate of 190 feet per second, leaving drivers little time to react. Since many wrong-way drivers drift to the far right lane, your best bet if you see someone coming at you is to move to the right, and if you can do it safely, get off the road altogether. Advice to keep in mind should you encounter a wrong-way driver, but advice that would not have saved Officer Brown or Tony Morin, both of whom were hit in the middle lane.
Every driver that's out there on the highway is put at risk.
The only one that know, the people that gone through it. And I've seen a lot of, wrong way drivers on the TV, I think, here we go again, I feel bad for them.
And we cannot repeat this enough. Be aware when you get on the highway when driving here in San Antonio. If you see headlights coming at you, again, move to the right, and if you can do it safely, get off the road altogether. In October, Taylor Rosenbush was convicted of intoxication manslaughter and sentenced to 24 years in prison for the deaths of Tony Morin and Keith Hernandez. Tony, in the weeks before his death, had told his mother he was thinking of moving to New Braunfels because he was concerned about that early morning commute from East San Antonio. With the I-Team, Dylan Collier, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.